It was wonderful to be heading on the shuttle from Christchurch to Akaroa one morning, and we stopped at Little River, and this is the old railway station that used to come through many moons ago. As you can see, it hasn't been used for quite some time. And then we headed up through Banks Peninsula, catching glimpses of the bays down below, on our way to beautiful Akaroa. I was so excited to be heading here. I've been looking forward to coming for many years now. So I grabbed a coffee. It was a chilly morning, and I headed back from one end of town through the township, admiring all the beautiful buildings. One thing about Akaroa is they sure do take pride in their little town. Stunning buildings, and the gardens were beautiful. This is the Coronation Library. It was built in 1875. Nowadays they do have a different library, but it was still lovely to visit it. And I headed along, admiring all the beautiful scenery through the township. And then I headed up the hill to my campground, which I'm pretty sure is the only campground in Akaroa itself. There's other campgrounds at other little bays on the Banks Peninsula. The walk from the bottom of the road is probably about 10 minutes via a track, which does get muddy and is a little bit broken down because they did have some flooding recently. But there's my view from the campground. It's very well looked after, and I really appreciated how they care for that campground, and the staff were lovely. So the next morning I headed back into the town, and I headed to Commons Cafe for a delicious breakfast before heading up into the hills because I really wanted to find a waterfall. And as you can see, I found many buildings along the way to stop and admire. Now I headed up to Misty Peak Track, and that is where I knew I would find Newton Waterfall if the tracks would let me. And as you can see, I found my waterfall. It's not huge, but it was delightful getting there, and I was quite proud of myself. So I headed back down, and the sun had come out. It was just a beautiful day. And within a short time, I had got down to the Garden of Tane. Now this is all different tracks. It's just a small bushy area, but you can explore. And it's actually really good for kids, and I noticed there was a lot of dog walkers there too. So I came down to this view, and this is just above the lighthouse. So I took a different track down until I came to the lighthouse itself. And I met lots of lovely tourists around there who decided to take my photo for me. The next morning I headed off because I knew it was going to be raining, and I went to the Children's Bay walkway for the morning. This really is a delight for the children and adults because you can see there's quite a bit of effort has been put into this track to make it interesting, with some interesting artwork. And yeah, it just made it very pleasant. I could imagine groups of children walking around here. Nothing too strenuous on the track, and you end up with some really lovely views. As it started getting stormier, I headed back down to my campground And I actually ended up spending a few days there, partly due to the weather and partly just because it was so peaceful. And I really enjoyed it in Akaroa. I would definitely be heading there again.